Hello everybody, welcome back to another Kerbal Space Program video. In today's video we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to build a lunar starship in Kerbal Space Program. If you are following along on this tutorial, the footage is sped up just a little bit, so feel free to pause at any point in the video. I just want to make sure the video wasn't like a half hour long. I think it is still, you can still follow it at this speed, as I'll try to cover all the main points. I don't know, hopefully I don't talk too fast, but either way, so the first step, we're going to have to get the two fairings to make sure that they are the equal size and they can like fit into each other, as you saw I did right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some fuel tank on, deciding what the right size is, and I'm going to go ahead and put an engine plate in. This is basically just like any other starship, these first few steps. We're going to go ahead and put in the 6 engines as per the usual. I've looked at some renderings, and I am fairly certain that the lunar starship will still have all 6 engines, both sea level and vacuum engines. I'm not sure what the plan is, if that is what they're planning on doing at the end, but at least according to the renders, that's what I saw, so that's what we're going to be doing. If you are following on, like I said, actually not like I said, but it is helpful to probably have a diagram or a rendering or some reference picture up aside from this tutorial. I think that might be a little bit easier to help you follow along, just in case you want to take some artistic liberties if my version is, you know, not what you want. So, essentially, the lunar starship, there are 3 things that are separate about it. 3 main challenges that are separate from a starship. Like, I've done 2 main starship tutorials, so I'm gonna actually try and just kind of go over like the main stuff kind of quick, like the fairings and stuff, and try and spend most of the time on the 3 unique things about the lunar starship as we go and build the main area and then the nose cone. So generally what you want if you're making a 5-meter lunar starship, it's about 5.1 meters, 5.2 meters. Generally you want it to be around 40 meters in height, just to get a nice good ratio or scaling, right? So and you also are going to want to blunt the nose cone a little bit. That is a difference. You're going to want to blunt the nose cone because you can put a docking port on top of the thing a little bit. On top of the starship there. I'm just getting a little reference to make sure it looks good and looks like it does fit. So if you don't blunt it and it's really pointy, what'll happen is the docking port will be clipped in, and you won't actually be able to dock to stuff because like the pointy fairing will be coming out of the docking port. So I'm gonna put a big giant main fuel tank in, and then put some passenger bays, and then some reaction wheels, and then that's just, you can. Basically, this interior is whatever you want it to be. You can put like no fuel tanks, all the fuel tanks. You do need a power source for sure because, yeah, we do not have any solar panels on this thing, which I will get to in just a moment. So yeah, the 3 biggest differences are A, the landing legs, B, the solar panels, and C, those little landing engines you see on lunar starship. They're going to go put the docking port in. And I think that is good. So next thing you're going to want to do is download a flag. If you do not know how to download a flag, I'm going to show you guys right now. This is for the solar panel. So what I did is I just searched up a picture, just a black image. If you want to search up some other image that you think would be a good solar panel texture, just go ahead and do that. I just thought black would be the best. So I just go ahead and save that to the main downloads folder. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to that downloads folder. You're going to want to go ahead and cut or copy or however you want to move it over. Go to your main Kerbal Space Program folder, which will be in different places depending if you have it on Steam or not. But then game data rather, and then squad. And then you're going to want to go to flags after that, and you want to go ahead and just paste that picture into the flags area. You will have to restart the game, but that will get the flag. And then you want to go to just right next to where the vehicle name is, and you can just switch the flag as I have done. It didn't really show it on screen. Yeah, so this is a solar panel. This is the design I decided to do for the solar panels. I'm just going to fill it in like so. It may take a few attempts to get it, you know, looking right, but generally what I like to do is I like to use the offset tool and push the flags as close to possible before they clip into the fairing. I think that generally makes the best look. It is useful to hit the F keys sometimes while you're doing a lot of the stuff on this thing to switch between local and absolute. Placement method, I get, but just, you know, just F, good button. So yeah, so now it's gonna go ahead and just put on all the solar panels. This may take some time depending on how much experience you have with flags. You can go quicker or slower, quicker or slower. Just be patient. It probably won't look perfect, but the positive side about everything being black is it all kind of blends in, so you can't really see all the imperfections as well. So yeah, the black is a good color. If you, oh, by the way, if you are enjoying the tutorial, I think this is amazing, much wow tutorial, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Oh my gosh, guys, we're getting real close to the 10K subscribers, so I'm kind of trying to get the plugs a little more aggressively. So 10K, we're going to do it. Oh my gosh, guys, we're going to be bigger than Matt Lown. OM gosh. So yeah, we also have Discord server, really cool server. If you want to join that, we have that. You can become a member or Patreon, all the fun stuff that gives me money or the like or comment. All the algorithm stuff also helps. So thank you guys. for all the support. So that's basically, I'm going to do a little bit more fine-tuning there. You want the solar panels, or the solar panels, to start just slightly up the nose cone, and you want them to finish just before the beginning of the docking port, as per the renders. So yeah, this is important why you need the other power source, like the RTGs that I put on, because those solar panels, as you can tell, are not functional solar panels. You can use some solar panels, I guess, to make it, but I don't think it looks really good if you use solar panels, so I'd like to use flags, so I don't know, don't at me. Now it is time for the second big, different, new thing. That is the landing legs. So the landing legs, what you're going to be using is these those foil-colored structural panels. You can color whatever color you want, obviously. But basically what I'm doing, I'm going to get that, and I'm going to offset tool, move them right down to there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then that's 4 like so. Now I'm going to get 4, and then 5 on top above it, like so. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is count up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fifth one I'm going to click and then rotate a little bit, and that is going to be the little housings for the landing legs, which you can see on the renders. So next step is going to be just basically to fill it in. So we want to get we'll get some more structural panels here in just a moment. And there we go. This is the second area. Actually, I don't know if I do that quite yet. See, I even know how my tutorials work so much. Yes, I am best tutorial guy ever. So this is step you do first, is you want to actually fill like the middle area. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but you see what I'm doing, right? Like, I don't really know what to call that, like the connecting bit, whatever. You're gonna go 4, and then obviously just go up to the 5, and then you want to just match the height. Sometimes it doesn't clip right, so you're gonna have to offset tool it. Fun tip: 1, 2, and 3, and 4 will switch between the place tool, offset, rotate, and reroute. Those are all important. Someone pointed that out to me on stream a few days ago. I didn't even know that was a thing. So, see, even I can learn. I know it's kind of embarrassing. I have thousands of hours in this game. I didn't even know that. Either way, yeah, can you go ahead and just line that up with that with the side one, and then we're going to go ahead and just copy the first little set of structural panels, and then we're going to put them on the other side of the fairings, or the ship, or whatever you want to call it. Alt Enter. Oh no, Alt and then left click. Haha! I know my keybinds. That is a way. That's how you copy a piece if you also want to do that. Alt and left click. Also will terminate the fairing at the bottom, as you can see, so we don't have like a finished fairing. Alt and then left click will do that. If you're wondering how to do that, I get some questions about that. I forgot to mention that a little bit earlier in the video. So that is basically the housing. You do want to make sure that you don't make it, you make the little open area for the landing legs to be actually big enough for a piston to fit in there. I use a big piston because the small pistons are just way too small. See, as you can see, mine is like barely big enough. But as long as it fits without anything clipping out, you should be good. Or I guess you could have it clip out if you want. I mean, it's not my ship. So there you go. Just gonna put them in like so, and then we will deal with the extension limit. Actually, what I'm doing right there. You can set a good extension limit, whatever you want it to be. So there we go. Now, the final big difference about Lunar Starship that separates it from a normal starship, and just doing a little bit of fine tuning here. Make sure you're holding shift when you're doing offset, by the way, on these parts that are really kind of all moved really far away from where you originally placed them, or else they'll kind of clip back. So make sure you're holding shift when doing that. So the next thing you're going to want to do, this is perhaps the biggest difference between a Lunar Starship. I mean, it being colored white is a big difference, but the landing engine. So because we don't want to kick up a lot of lunar dust, or this is the real reason, they use these radially mounted higher up engines to actually do the final landing with on the moon. So we're going to use aerospike engines for our one. They're just hitting F to move the mode or whatever. So the aerospike engine is actually a fairly magical engine. So a lot of the times, if you have an engine clipped into a fairing or a piece or whatever, it won't actually produce thrust. It'll just end up firing into the piece and just melting it and blowing everything up. So here I'm just going to do a quick little test to make sure that the engine, this is a good thing you should probably do, just activate the engine and make sure it actually will. As you can see, it's the plume is coming out and it's not melting my piece, which means it is producing thrust. So how does the aerospike do that? The aerospike is kind of magical. So the aerospike has a really weird point at which it creates thrust, or a really weird way it creates thrust. I'm just going to quickly check here my fuel delivery, I believe, just to make sure everything is looking good. So the aerospike will not melt your fairing piece or the main fairing, or the black fairing piece or the main fairing, as long as you have just any portion of it to be clipped outside of the actual piece. So as you can see, we have a tiny little point of the like the bell or the spike part of the aerospike clipped out of the black fairing, and then you can see there's like just a few pixels of like the top of the engine clipping out of the white fairing. So that's really all you need. Literally just one pixel. You could do it. You get a lot more precise than I did. I'm just, you know, like, yeah, you can do it a lot more precise than I did. You can have it a lot less obvious. I mean, I think mine, the design is not very obvious. Like, you really can't see it unless you're really looking at the aerospikes. You see that little point coming out of the black little circles. But yeah, the aerospike engine is magical. Any other engine, if you tried to clip them in that far, everything would just blow up. So aerospike engines, that's the way to go. I don't know why. Aerospikes are pretty magical, and they have good ISP too, which is a good bonus. So there you go, just going to get them as close as possible, just barely clipped out of the fairing. I know it's kind of annoying, I had a little black thing there, but you really literally only need like one pixel to be outside of the white fairing, so you could get it a lot more precise, as I said. So that is going to be a majority of the ship done. Now it is just time to do the finishing touches. So I'm going to do the staging now. In this video, I am going to demonstrate a lunar landing. I'm not going to actually demonstrate a launch with super heavy and stuff, because I've done I've done so much Starship stuff on this channel, so you guys can check some of the other videos about that. So, gonna set up action groups for each of the sea level engines. Gonna set up an action group for the vacuum engines. Now we're going to set up an action group to turn on and off the landing engines, and then I'm also going to set up action groups for the gear action group for it to extend the piston. And then I'm going to set the toggle locked action group 6, I believe. And then I think I changed the extension limit to 42 just for the memes. 42. And then, yeah, that is basically almost everything completed. Yeah, so we're going to get ready to actually crossfade now to our landing on the moon. So, or the mun, rather. The vacuum engines, if you have, you know, a decent amount of fuel, they do not have, actually if you have any fuel, they do not have a lot of thrust. So you're going to want to start your landing burn a little bit higher up, as I did right there. So the way it works is you initially start the landing burn, I believe, with the vacuum engines, and then you transition to the actual landing engine when you get closer to the ground. Because our vacuums, in this case, both have a higher efficiency and a higher thrust output. So yeah, and they're not really kicking up lunar dust like 5 kilometers above the surface. So important thing to keep in mind is the lunar Starship is very tall and not very wide. I mean, it's pretty wide relative to a lot of rockets, but it's not a very wide thing. So it does like to tip over, so it is very important to find a nice flat area to land on. So yeah, keep that in mind. You might want to save a little bit extra fuel when doing that, when landing. So just you may have to translate, because I actually have to translate over quite a bit to in this landing to try and find a flat area. So you're coming down now. Just the last few hundred meters a second being slow burned off here of our fuel. And here we go, as we are basically right above the ground, but you can see it's really hilly here, so I actually go a little bit back to where I came from, as you can see right about here. Just so we can try and find a little bit flatter of a location, just going right just ahead a few meters up there. So I'm gonna get ready to think about starting to turn off our vacuum engines with the action group that we set up, and enabling the landing engines. So initially what I do is I enable the landing engines and then burn all the engines, with the exception of the sea levels, for just a few seconds before we turn off the vacuums. So there we go. There go the landing engines, and there go the vacuum engines now turned off. And now it is just a matter of deploying the landing legs and bringing it in for a nice and slow landing. It's really easy to control the throttle on these things. Aerospikes they're pretty good engines, so we can bring it in for a nice soft little touchdown. And there we go. There is touchdown, and there is tutorial completed. If you enjoyed the video, well, I hope you did. I don't know, maybe you could consider becoming a awkward member. There we go. Members on screen right now. If you could like to become a member, that'd be really amazing and support the channel. Or you can become a Patreon. That's also really cool if you do that. That's the end of today's video. I'd like to thank you for watching. What's next time? Please rate or comment to the video once again. Thank you for watching. What's next time? And bye.